Hi, everyone. This meeting is to discuss the 3-year vision for Verify. So we're getting together to talk about the vision that Vitika and I have defined so far, and get the product perspective on what the next steps can be to move this forward in terms of just fleshing out the ideas and validating some of them, and so on and so forth. So I linked some of the issues or the discussions in the 3-year vision issue and the mockups as well, but you've seen the walkthroughs, so you're aware of everything that we proposed. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions, but we kind of proposed some questions and some points for discussion, Vitika and I. If you have anything that you'd like to add to the agenda, feel free, or like just anything goes. We just wanted to kind of propose some structure for this meeting and set some goals and stuff. And yeah, let me know if that sounds good, if we can just like move forward with the questions, or if you'd like to first discuss kind of the overall vision, or if you have any other things that you think we should discuss first, just let me know.
Okay, should we start with the first point? I mean, from the discussion points list that.
Sure.
If folks don't mind, I'm gonna change it to numbered so we can refer to them, the points.
Okay. Sure. All right, so the first point that I had was everything we are proposing, it's still going to be a proposal. I mean, it's at a very conceptual stage. So, I mean, our regular product workflow, it says that we should validate a problem before we start working on it. And right now what's happening is in this whole exercise, we're kind of touching upon so many areas that and I'm not sure how would we plan validating all of those problem statements. So, I mean, is it like we are going to take a different approach for problem validation with the things that come up from this exercise?
Did you just talk through 1B? Was that what? Or just in general?
It's one, like just the main point is what I covered.
Oh, okay.
I did not touch upon any subpoints.
Okay. What I'd like to do is, like, for example, let me refer back to your, the issue itself. You had listed under approaching plan 5 bullet points. I'd like to prioritize 2 of those 5 maybe to focus and then take it through like a whole cycle of, maybe not wait till we're done vetting those through the validation, solution validation, but rather than try to tackle all 5. And the way I would like to prioritize them is looking at the things that would support getting to a green pipeline. So for example, bullet number 3 in your approaching plan, I'll just read it. It's prioritize logs to be more readable and easy to consume, giving clear instructions to user how to troubleshoot their way into a green pipeline. That bullet, I would propose, I would probably create an epic for that. I propose we explore that more. And then another bullet, if we were going to pick 2 out of the 5, is.
Sorry, where are you reading it from?
Oh, sorry. Let me deep link you to this.
I have the link with me. I can quickly put it there.
Yeah, I'll just I put it in D for now.
Okay.
Oops, there it is. Let's see. What did you call it? Plan and approach. Pre-approach and plan. Approach and plan section. Let's see. So the reason so the second thing I have to think about this maybe more in depth after this meeting, but the 5th bullet, I don't even know if that's possible to allow a user to do a dry run of their pipeline, but allowing them to make a mock run to tentatively test their results. Again, that's useful in order to get to a green pipeline, because one of the measures that is overall for the verify stage and specific probably to the pipeline authoring group is the metric of, there's two metrics. There's one is unique users triggering a pipeline. Obviously they can't trigger a pipeline if their pipeline is not, is broken. And then there's a measure, there's a metric there. I think it's one of the performance indicator that's being instrumented, Dove, that Jason created the issue for. I don't know where that's at, but it's
Time
the
to
one.
first gain.
Yes, time to first green. And all of those we want to support from the CI side, because that contributes to users being able to trigger a pipeline. Because once a pipeline is correctly authored and running green, other users in that organization for that project or in that group can trigger that pipeline, which adds to our metric of unique users triggering a pipeline. So that's how I look at how to prioritize the possible areas under the
All right.
ideas from the 3-year mock-ups.
I would like to share one point that I know that the solution, it's kind of, it's almost like I have listed a solution there because that's what Peyton suggested.
Yeah.
But today, while researching for the dashboard, in one of the articles from Jenkins, I figured that what they're doing is in the dashboard, they're giving this capability to kind of throw projections at users like, I mean, I don't know how exactly, but they're able to predict like what would the execution of this pipeline is going to be like before they even execute it. So instead of, I mean, taking some other approach, but dealing with the same problem is what I'm trying to say here. So maybe we can separate out the problem statement from this solution and try to address it in a different way.
Okay. And a question I have for Dove and Nadia is it that much different than what happens during linting? I guess the linting just checks the syntax, but doesn't really give you the result of what would happen if the pipeline ran.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, if you have like an artifact which you need to rely on and it can break the pipeline, this is something that I don't think we can simulate.
So,
Yeah,
go ahead.
We've been also thinking about this. Actually, I kind of assumed that this would fall in under pipeline authoring because it's something we explored as well. So kind of like, are we talking about kind of like the test run that you would do before saving changes to your pipeline?
Yes.
So let's say you're building it in the pipeline editor. Okay, yeah, so that was one of the ideas. I mean, for me, the way I see it, it's just difficult to measure based on our main metric, like the usefulness of this feature, but I feel like it would help us reduce the feedback loop when you're setting up your pipeline, and by making troubleshooting easier through reducing this feedback loop, we make it easier for the users to get their green pipeline. So again, it's kind of like an indirect way, but I think it would really improve the usability. So I'm not saying that it means that we should prioritize it, just kind of like my 2 cents, the way I think about it, more from like the generally the usability perspective, but how to measure it, how we would measure the impact of that feature, I'm not sure. And
actually, you made me think of that. Maybe that's something we wouldn't pursue, Vitika, the bullet about the test run, because that would probably fall under pipeline authoring.
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah, I could. I mean, I still want to pursue it, but not as something CI team would focus on. Was that something that was in your plans? Sorry, there must be a delay.
Not really. So that was added after I had put the plan there. It was edited to accommodate that because Peyton suggested that, and I really liked the idea. At that point,
Agreed.
it didn't like immediately occur to me which side it could fall on. So it's perfectly
Yes,
fine if
agree.
it goes
Yeah.
to Python.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I think also bullet number 4, like on-demand contextual action and information to sideout panel, is probably also more related to pipe. Also, like
It kind of
some of
touches
those
upon both
probably
the
touch like both, even
yeah,
like the simulation, although it's like it's supposed to be like something related to pipeline authoring. I don't know what will be the solution, but maybe the solution will involve something that CI need to touch, because if we are like simulating a pipeline that is running, then maybe there are some mechanism behind that that would involve the CI team. So I'm not sure like what will be there, but I think it's good to like have a discussion like across both teams, and then like once we identify what are the main points that we want to address, then we can say, okay, this belongs to pipeline authoring and this belongs to CI. I think like a better discussion will be, let's see what's our roadmap, and then let's divide it into those two teams, rather than doing like the other way around.
Yeah. Just to quickly circle back to the original question, just wanted to make sure we don't go. I think we're against trying to jump into like breaking things down and prioritizing, but going back to Vithika's question, how are we going to validate those things? So we have done some problem validation in the past. Actually, we might be able to find some insights that help us validate some of these ideas. We just haven't done it yet. Like I've gone through some of the research that Dimitri all the way back has done, and product managers as well. But I haven't really dove really deeply into those insights. So we should probably do that as the next step, see if there's already some information that validates these ideas. And then we might want to do additional problem validation as well. Of course, we still need to prioritize like our immediate next steps. So that's something maybe we can focus on. What are the things that we have high level of confidence in that we're setting as our immediate priorities, and then we can share and discuss those so we're aligned on what our priorities are for the CI team and for the PA team. And then what are the ideas that we think they have very high potential, but we need to validate them a bit more. So then we should probably find a way to include those in our upcoming problem validation issues.
Yeah, I would also add that I agree with what Nadia said. Obviously, problem validation is something that we'll always do. But I think that we have like a sense of, for now, what are the immediate steps that that is needed, and like we can discuss it. But like it's like general things that first of all things that we need to focus like based on the priority from product. So like let's make sure to focus on like new users, making sure we make conversion and get users to start using pipeline authoring. This is number one. Let's focus on the user experience. That's number two. So those are like the two things that we know we need to work on. And then if we jump into the actual solution, if we look at our overall workflow, we can see that the experience is fragmented across like multiple areas and multiple location on our product. Even like for pipeline authoring, you author your pipeline in one place, then you do the validation in a different place, and like we have different cool ideas and we don't know where to place them. So like having this general like product approach, okay, let's understand the user flow, let's organize those, put them in the same bucket, and then we'll have those questions, okay, like what is the user is doing, like what are the steps that the users are doing, what's more important, and this is where we need to like do the actual problem validation. But I think like from pipeline authoring, I think we know what are the immediate steps that we need to do, and like we have a lot to do even before going into the problem validation, so we can get ahead and do the problem validation of things that we foresee that will be like some things that are questionable.
Dov, do you want to talk briefly then about the next steps for pipeline authoring?
Yeah,
because you've recently created some issues and organized it, so we can add it under the third point here, where I'm asking what are the immediate top priorities for the PA team?
So like generally speaking, we need to drive our time to first green. Now this is like maybe a broad term, and then we can start measuring it, but this is like the way we will measure success. I think that like I would say like probably the two most important critical things that we need to do is, first of all, create a dedicated authoring experience to author your pipeline, because today users go and update their pipeline in the same way when they update any other file, and we know that we need this tailored experience for our users. So creating this dedicated location with all the features that will support that. So if we're talking about linting, if we're talking about like the actual authoring, and then the second big thing is the pipeline visual builder, which is also a part of this experience. So users will be able to create their pipeline through the UI and see how it is updating the YAML. So like only those 2 points, or those two epic, will give us enough areas to work on in the coming like 2 to 3 iteration. And so I would probably place those two as like the top priority. And of course, we can break it down into like what are the immediate tasks, where I see it is like, okay, let's bring all the solution together under the same umbrella in this pipeline authoring location, and then we'll start working on the new features.
So just to clarify, like I've read through the issues that you created, so I think I understand it, but the next steps then would be for us to create this separate page for the pipeline editor, and then we would start moving the current functionality there in these kind of MVC steps. So we will create an editor there that will look probably very close to the single file editor. So at first, we're not going to add any additional capabilities to it. And then we will move the linter. And once we have all of those things there, so the current functionality will be available from one page, then we will start evolving that into a more integrated experience. For example, as an MVC, maybe the linter will be a tab or maybe like a button in the editor. Eventually, we will make it more integrated inside the editor and so on, so the experience will be more smooth. Now, at first, we will just have a drop down for the templates. In the future, it might be a sidebar, for example. So we will iteratively then improve on all of those features based on their priority and implementation, like the feasibility and so on.
Exactly, and actually, I see that like as we move things in, like when you say like let's create this editor which is similar to the editor that we have, the single file editor that we have today, maybe we can even as we do it, we can maybe like improve it, like create some sort of an instruction, links to the documentation, because it's something that is tailored toward the pipeline authoring. So it will be very easy to like maybe add a welcome message when it's empty, create an empty page, an empty status, and then links to the documentation. Those are things that we cannot do in the regular single file editor, because someone can edit their pipeline and someone else can just edit the README, and it will be very hard to say, okay, this file is actually a pipeline, so let's now change everything to look like the pipeline authoring area. But I think with the essence of time, let's maybe move to the some of the CI part, and then we can we can take it offline, Nadia.
Yeah, sure. So we just kind of went over the next steps for the pipeline authoring. So I wonder what are these steps, like thinking at this kind of level, what are the steps for the CI team?
So Tao, I would just mention the one thing that I think is very obvious is the dashboard exercise, because you've already created an epic for key metrics. And we have kind of included all the other issues from the past that were very highly voted and validating those issues and the overall problem statement is kind of easier for us because I mean the testing team, even the release management team, very recently they have looked into this problem statement of providing the right metrics to their users, and they have conducted a lot of interviews. Which what I've done for now is I've created a separate Dovetail project, and I've included all those interviews inside that as data, and I'm in the process of analyzing them. So in a day or two, we would have the insights that I can put back in the Epic, and we can start like relooking at the issues from that point of view.
Yeah. Yeah. Those were those interviews problem validation interviews, or was it solution?
They were problem validation for the environments metrics and director level dashboard. So I understand that they don't very directly are looking at the same areas that we want to focus on.
Yeah.
But I'm not just relying on them. I'm reading up a lot of things like all the DevOps practices and what are the information that users. If you look at the recent most comment in the 3 years vision that I have posted after Fabio's comment, I'll put the link here. How I'm looking at the different problem areas in dashboard is in relation to the different personas, and I'm very strictly adhering to those personas even while documenting them anywhere, so that we know like who we are making things for and what we need to provide. I'll just put it here.
And there's two levels of dashboards. Like in your video, you're talking about a type of dashboard that is giving information as a pipeline's running. But another area that I want to focus on is completely different, is dashboards that are for executed pipelines, or maybe looking at all pipelines within a project or within a group. I'm trying to find the example, but so within those two, the one that I consider for an executing pipeline that does support pipeline authoring team, and I do want to do some of that work, but there is a type of dashboard that, let me see, I don't know if I can get to this. That's odd. There's a type of dashboard that I'm thinking of that is much broader, and it's not about the currently running pipeline. Sorry, I'll just put the docs in there because I can't get to an example. But yeah, I think the next step is to synthesize all the stuff that's already been researched and look at those interviews. And then after you have some insights, you and I can sync again and talk about what we can do with those insights, group them together, and then see which theme that we want to start working on.
Right. Yeah. And in the meanwhile, I think you can take a look at everything else that is being proposed and whether or not they align with the direction that you think is right for us to take in relation to the performance indicators or other product priorities. And we can look at that next.
And, well, I'll just put 4, 3. Okay, where are we on the agenda? I'm lost now.
Yeah, we've been jumping around a little bit. So actually, the questions around the top priorities are in point 3.
Okay.
So 3A. 3A, you can put under the Vitika's comments there. I will also link some issues there.
Oh, okay. Let me move my stuff up there. Let me talk through the ones that I added. I put it at the end of the agenda, but I just moved it up there as 3. oops, let me move this whole thing out. 3B. So we have, so separate from, maybe I'll just put not immediate, because I want to differentiate that from some of the immediate priorities I have that are not related to 3-year vision. Just to give for that, it's things that has to do with CI minutes and managing of artifacts. But the top priorities for the related to the 3-year vision, I'm going to say there's these two. So making it easier to trigger an existing pipeline. And this is assuming that once the pipeline's already green, there are still some things that we can do. And it's, some of it is UX, but not all of it. An example would be if it's hard for them to, there's an issue in our current milestone that's carried over from the last milestone to pre-populate variables, for example, that was making it hard to trigger a pipeline. So similar issues to that. But the second priority related to the 3-year vision for me is providing better view of metrics for understanding the executed historical pipeline. I say view because I'm not sure it's going to be a separate dashboard. I'll just call it a view for now. Right now, the only place that someone can go to see pipeline data that I'm aware of is very, very high level. It's in these two places. One is sometimes broken. There's an issue for it. It's the pipeline charts view. And another one is the operations dashboard view. Those are very, very high level. It doesn't give you the details that we call out in, there's an issue for actionable analytics, which has a whole laundry list of things that types of metrics we can surface. And that was the long list, Vitika, that we said, we want to look at whatever research has already been done so that we know which one of those 20 possible metrics we even want to surface as an initial MVC, first iteration of a view. So anyways, those are my priorities is for related to the 3-year vision, but I may change that based on what we decide from the insights of the research that's already done by other teams. I may find out that it's more, there's a really strong need for something completely different, and I might displace one of these top two for me, top two priorities. But I do want to try to stick with 2 and not more. I get, it gets hard to have too many.
That's true.
Oops.
Okay, cool. So is there any, are there any immediate areas of overlap for the CI and PA, UX and product, and maybe engineering as well? Well, we don't have the EMs here, but we can also think about it. Are there any areas of overlap where we should be intentional about collaborating on those? Because there's, we might as well not do double work, or make sure we're really sharing all of our insights and any exploration.
I have 1 minute, so I just want to say one thing about that, and then I need to drop because I have a hard stop. For now, I'm not sure if I see something at the moment that is overlapping, but I'm sure that there would be. So even if we won't find any issues today, the discussions on the 3-year roadmap should happen together, because if not today, then tomorrow. So it's important we'll stay aligned. For instance, the fact that we create our own dedicated area for pipeline authoring is definitely something that touch CI. Obviously, that will be our home for CI. So all the new features, all the things that you'll build, you probably need to build them there. So probably not at the moment, but like shortly there will be. And sorry, I have to drop. So continue this without me, and I'll watch the recording if there are any other information. Thanks.
Sure.
Bye.
Thanks, Dov. Bye.
Yeah. Hey, Nadia, my answer to that question is definitely when I look at the video, the walkthrough that Nadia did on the 3-year vision for CI, just anything that is going to illustrate what's happening with the pipeline is going to be overlap. Maybe CI team owns the framework of creating that view, right? But we would have to work with the engineers from pipeline authoring to figure out what data we want to surface in it, even if CI team owns the framework of building out that view. Talking, yeah, go ahead.
I think even for the dashboard, we might need some data for the metrics from the pipeline side. I mean, pipeline also.
Yeah, yeah. Like for example, definitely if the dashboard, maybe we want to know all of the runtimes for the jobs, and maybe pipeline authoring is already showing that in the pipeline view, and they can provide that. But our dashboard would do that, and we would aggregate it too for some other types of data. But yeah, we would rely. There's definitely overlap there.
Makes sense. Okay, great. And in terms of UX, Vitika, you started talking there before Dove. Do you have any specific points that we should? Well, we collaborate a lot, I guess, on all these things, but just to vocalize it.
I think for the coming 2 weeks, maybe no. I have a lot of overlap with release and testing team, and I have to keep like exchanging information with them. But with pipeline authoring, nothing immediate. But I would definitely let you know if something comes up.
Okay, great. Yeah, so as I said, the first immediate step for the pipeline authoring team in terms of this 3-year vision is to create the pipeline editor page. And at first it will be very minimal, just like a single file editor, but we will already have to start thinking about how we're linking this page throughout the whole CI experience to make it easy for the user to jump back into their editor when it makes sense. Maybe, yeah, so I don't know what it's going to look like, and just to put it out there, like probably there will be opportunities for us to collaborate on that, but since we'll mainly be moving the existing functionality first, probably there won't be as much overlap at first. But either way, just like let's keep each other posted. Feel free to just CC me on issues as well. I always appreciate it because I only check stuff where I'm tagged directly. So don't worry about like spamming me. It's always good. I'll just have a look, and it's better if I'm aware, and I'll do the same. Let me know if it gets a bit too much, but I think it's good to just make sure we're all aware of what's happening on both teams.
Okay. Yeah. If we want to specifically use the keep each other updated in the Slack channel for 3-year vision as well. Do we want to continue using that after the vision is finalized?
I mean, just for the overlapping part, or just to update if in case we come up with a video or something.
Okay.
Actually, I wonder if we should rather use our just group channels,
I know,
because in the 3-year vision, we only have PMs and UX, and we don't have any engineering. And I don't think that we should invite engineering to that channel either. Maybe let's just kind of move these discussions out into the open. And the 3-year vision channel, it can stay for now in case we need to align on like some deliverables, like some final mockups that we want to put on some direction page or something like that.
Yeah. The only thing we do have to double post as far as, since we have different group CI and group pipeline authoring channels, we just have to post in both places.
Yeah.
We can just copy the message, copy the link,
or just cross link. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Anything else to add?
No, thanks for organizing this, Nadia.
Okay, awesome. Thanks everyone, and have a good day. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.